So, Africa's immediate post-independence ruling elites were a reflection of the colonial mentality. They looked at Africa as a place where resources are extracted. They constructed the state as a source of largesse, as a source of accumulation. Now, unfortunately for all of us, the ruling elite since that time have managed to reproduce themselves, and therefore the thinking around the state has never really changed. It reminds me of Ali Mazrui's triple heritage. And there is a scene where Ali Mazrui talks about this young accountant, I think in Ghana, during the 60s. And this young accountant had discovered discrepancies in one of the development projects that were being implemented that suggested corruption. He saw that public resources were being stolen. And because this young accountant had not been socialized into the corrupt machinery, into the machinery of extraction, the young accountant went to his boss and said, I have discovered these discrepancies. Someone is stealing from this project. And the boss looked at him and said, come here, young man. You see, Kwame Nkrumah has killed an elephant, and there is enough for everyone to eat. So this young man was mesmerized. But that was the first step towards socializing him into the system of extraction, accumulation, and corruption. Now, that system has never collapsed for Africa. The reason is because the logic of extraction, extracting resources from Africa, is built into the global imperialist system. So it's difficult to change because this is what has been feeding the centers of accumulation. If you remember the center periphery, the Marxist critical thinking around center periphery relationships, it is these resources from Africa that have been feeding these centers of capital accumulation, while African people remain poor. And therefore, when we see our elites behaving the way they do, when we see them rejecting integration of the continent, it is because they do not actually believe that the African state has any other mission other than to feed the centers of capital accumulation in the West. And for many years, if you have read the literature, there's something we call capital flight. And capital flight for many years was characterized by a number of things. The first one is corruption, based on the logic of extraction, extracting resources, taxpayers' money. Secondly, after extracting the resources, looting the resources, then it is invested abroad. So many African leaders actually over the years from the independence era have had investments in the West. So the same way that the colonizers were extracting resources and investing those resources in the West, the African elites were also doing the same after independence. So they were investing. Thirdly, they bought luxury homes. If you remember the case of Mobutu Sese Seko, probably one of the most important exemplification of that trend. So they buy homes and so on. So at the back of their minds, Africa is not even their home. Africa is the place where you extract, then you invest elsewhere, then you buy homes in the places where you have invested. You don't even expect the African state to outlast you. So it's a rat race of extracting, investing abroad, buying homes abroad, so that when the day comes, the day of damnation for the African state, they expected that. Then they would go to their homes abroad. And this is why it is really, really difficult for Africa to move forward if a way cannot be found to totally demolish the current ruling elites and their philosophy of extraction.